So, what is an MSP and why does your small business need one? So, first, let's describe what an MSP is. So, it stands for Managed Service Provider. So, 15, 20 years ago, everybody just called us IT providers. And basically, you would call us when something broke, or you got a pop up on your screen, or your kid got a virus on your computer. You would give us a call, we'd come in, we'd fix it, we'd charge you $200 or $100, and then we would leave, and then we would just sit by the phone and wait for you to call us again in a month when the same thing would occur. So nowadays, the environment has completely changed. There's many more things that IT providers have to provide in order to keep your business safe and keep it productive and keep your business profitable. So in IT, a managed service provider has to do all the things that an internal IT team would do. Those things include keeping your network up and running, making sure that all your backups are running and that they're secure, doing all the cybersecurity things that we need to monitor your accounts, your endpoints, your servers, your cloud infrastructure, provide help desk support to your team so that if a printer stops printing or a computer stops working, that somebody's there that they can call to quickly resolve the issue. They also manage and monitor all your cloud services. So if you're using a cloud server in Azure, AWS, or if you're using Microsoft 365 or Dropbox or some other type of cloud infrastructure, your MSP is managing those things. And then they also provide strategic consulting to make sure that your company is moving in the right direction when it comes to your IT initiatives. So because of all these things that the IT provider has to do, we've now moved to using this new title called Managed Services Provider to fully encompass all the different services that we are providing small businesses. And why you need one is because now, with all the cybersecurity risks out there, companies can no longer put their head in the sand and say, this isn't going to happen to me. There's plenty of examples of how cybersecurity risks have taken down small businesses, put them out of business. There's all kinds of statistics around it. And now with AI and automation, these things, every company needs to be looking at how they can implement these things, because if you're not, your competitors will, and they will become more efficient and more productive than you will. So contacting your MSP to talk about how to make your business better and optimize your processes is critical to your business to survive and maintain the profitability that it has today. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, how do you select one? So there's hundreds of us, thousands of us, probably in every market across the United States. So how do you know which one is a good fit for your company? So the very first thing you should do when you look for any type of provider, whether it's IT services, pest control, construction, anything like that, you always want to assess what your needs are. You know, what are the things you need? What do you struggle with? What are the things that can really help your business improve if you can make them better? So once you have that list of, hey, these are the things we absolutely need, these are the things we're looking to improve in our business, then you can go out to the market and say, all right, well, who out there can help me? So how do you know? So if you Google MSP or IT provider in your area, you probably get 20 pages of Google listings of people all across the country. Some right next to you, some may be, states away, if not time zones away from your individual geography. So how do you know? So the first thing you want to do is check the references, the easy things like you would do with a restaurant. What do the Google reviews look like? Obviously, you can probably eliminate anybody that has a Google review average of less than 4. Or if they have Google reviews in the single digits, I would say that those people, haven't proven to you, and there's not enough social proof out there that they're going to be a good fit for your organization. The next thing is to look for experience. And when I say experience, I mean experience that would be beneficial to you. So do they have experience with your industry? If you're not at the point where you want to call them or email them, you can usually tell on their websites. Do they have logos or information of companies that they work with in your industry, or do they have blog posts about your industry talking about, the struggles that you deal with every day? And then the other thing you want to look for is, do they have experience working with any specific line of business software that you have? So if you're an accountant and you work with QuickBooks, or if you are in manufacturing and you work with a specific manufacturing software, do they have experience working with that software? It's not a deal breaker, but a lot of times it's very beneficial to have somebody that already has experience working with the software that you use every day. The next thing, obviously, is pricing. So you're going to have to determine what is your budget number. What are you looking at? And you want to do some education for yourself. You want to make sure that your budget is realistic. Is this something that we can actually obtain? And then obviously there'll be some discovery along the way. And you really want to get into the details because most MSPs price a little bit differently than other ones. So what's included in their individual packages and what's not included may be different. So you want to make sure that if you're comparing MSPs, you want to be doing it apples to apples. The next thing is the SLAs. So when you have an issue, how fast are they going to respond to your issue? And that may vary. Many MSPs, like my MSP, have different SLAs for the priority of the incident. So if it's something critical where multiple people in the company cannot do their day-to-day work, that would be considered an urgent request. Is it something that is a high priority, which maybe one individual person can't do their job? And then would it be normal that, hey, I got a pop-up on my screen every 3 weeks and it's just annoying and I want it to go away? So you want to understand what the typical response is going to be. And the last thing is you want to make sure that the communication is good. Because in my experience, the thing that always breaks up a relationship with an MSP and a small business is usually communication. How quickly are issues addressed? And when you've talked to this MSP during the prospect phase, did you feel that you were heard? Did they understand what your concerns were, or were they just pitching what they wanted to sell you? Because that's a pretty good indication of how the relationship's going to go. So those are the things that we talked about: what an MSP is, why you need one, and how you would pick one.